The Soviet Union, a sprawling empire built on the ideals of socialism and a rigid social order, maintained an environment of strict control over all aspects of public and private life. This control extended to sexuality, with a particular emphasis on promoting traditional family values and heteronormativity.
Homosexuality, deemed a bourgeois decadence and a threat to the moral fabric of Soviet society, was officially deemed a mental illness. This classification served as a tool for silencing and marginalizing LGBTQ+ individuals, forcing them to live in the shadows and navigate a world fraught with fear and suspicion.
The very existence of homosexuality was denied in public discourse, effectively erasing LGBTQ+ individuals from the official narrative. State-controlled media, tasked with promoting the virtues of socialist living, ignored or demonized any mention of same-sex relationships.
Textbooks and educational materials omitted any discussion of homosexuality, perpetuating ignorance and prejudice among the population. The lack of visibility and open dialogue created a climate of shame and secrecy, isolating LGBTQ+ individuals and hindering their ability to form communities or seek support.
This enforced silence had a profound impact on the lives of countless LGBTQ+ individuals, forcing them to live double lives, concealing their true identities from family, friends, and colleagues. The fear of discovery was ever present, with the potential consequences ranging from social ostracism to imprisonment.
This atmosphere of fear and repression cast a long shadow over the lives of LGBTQ+ individuals in the Soviet Union, shaping their experiences and limiting their opportunities for self-expression and fulfillment. The absence of open dialogue, coupled with the criminalization of same-sex relationships, created an environment where LGBTQ+ individuals were denied basic human rights and relegated to the margins of society.
The legacy of this silence continues to resonate in the post-Soviet space, casting a long shadow over the ongoing struggle for LGBTQ+ rights and acceptance.
Homosexuality, viewed through the lens of Soviet ideology, was often portrayed as a decadent symptom of Western capitalism, a threat to the moral fiber of the socialist state. This perception fueled widespread prejudice and discrimination against LGBTQ+ individuals, who were often stereotyped as deviant, immoral, and even dangerous.
These harmful stereotypes permeated all levels of society, influencing public opinion, shaping legal frameworks, and justifying discriminatory practices. The legal landscape in the Soviet Union reflected the official stance on homosexuality, criminalizing same-sex relationships and subjecting LGBTQ+ individuals to persecution.
Article 121 of the Soviet Criminal Code, introduced in the 1930s, outlawed sodomy between men, carrying a prison sentence of up to 5 years. This law, although not explicitly mentioning female homosexuality, was often used to target lesbian women as well, further marginalizing and silencing them.
The criminalization of homosexuality had far-reaching consequences for LGBTQ+ individuals, exposing them to the constant threat of arrest, imprisonment, and social ostracism. Law enforcement agencies often used entrapment techniques and relied on fabricated evidence to target and prosecute suspected homosexuals.
The fear of being caught in the clutches of the legal system forced many LGBTQ+ individuals to lead double lives, concealing their true identities and living in a perpetual state of anxiety and fear. The criminalization of homosexuality not only led to direct persecution, but also created a climate of fear and suspicion that permeated all aspects of life for LGBTQ+ individuals.
The threat of arrest and imprisonment hung over their heads, forcing them to constantly censor themselves and avoid any behavior that could be perceived as homosexual. This atmosphere of fear and repression had a devastating impact on the mental and emotional well-being of LGBTQ+ individuals, isolating them from support networks and preventing them from living openly and authentically.
For LGBTQ+ individuals living in the Soviet Union, the fear of discovery and its potentially devastating consequences was a constant companion. The criminalization of same-sex relationships, coupled with deeply ingrained societal prejudice, forced them to navigate a world shrouded in secrecy and fear, constantly vigilant against exposure and persecution.
This pervasive atmosphere of fear profoundly impacted their lives, shaping their relationships, limiting their opportunities, and casting a long shadow over their sense of self and belonging. Many LGBTQ+ individuals resorted to living double lives, presenting a heterosexual facade to the outside world, while secretly maintaining their true identities.
This often meant entering into marriages of convenience, pretending to conform to societal expectations while enduring the emotional toll of living a lie. Others chose to live solitary lives, isolating themselves from potential risks, but also depriving themselves of the joys of intimacy and companionship.
The lack of safe spaces and the constant threat of persecution made it extremely difficult for LGBTQ+ individuals to form meaningful connections and build a sense of community. Social gatherings, if they occurred at all, were shrouded in secrecy, often taking place in private homes or clandestine locations.
The fear of being outed or reported to the authorities loomed large, inhibiting open expression and fostering an atmosphere of mistrust and paranoia. The experience of living in secrecy and fear took a heavy toll on the mental and emotional well-being of LGBTQ+ individuals.
The constant need to conceal their true identities, coupled with the fear of discovery and its potential consequences, often led to feelings of isolation, anxiety, and depression. Denied access to support networks and facing widespread societal stigma, many LGBTQ+ individuals struggled to cope with the challenges of their daily lives, their voices silenced and their experiences rendered invisible.
Section 4, Whispers of Change, the Post-Soviet Era. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 marked the beginning of a tumultuous period of political, social and economic upheaval in Eastern Europe. The collapse of the Soviet Union ushered in an era of newfound freedoms and uncertainties as countries embarked on the path of democratic transition.
For LGBTQ+ individuals, this period brought both hope and trepidation as they cautiously emerged from the shadows.
The dismantling of communist regimes led to a gradual shift in attitudes towards LGBTQ+ rights in some parts of Eastern Europe. New constitutions enshrined principles of equality, laying the groundwork for legal reforms aimed at decriminalizing homosexuality.
However, progress was not uniform across the region, with some countries embracing change more readily than others.
The post-Soviet era witnessed the emergence of LGBTQ+ organizations and advocacy groups inspired by global progress. These organizations played a crucial role in raising awareness, challenging discriminatory laws, and providing support to the community.
Their efforts, often met with resistance, helped to bring LGBTQ+ rights into the public discourse.
Despite positive developments, the legacy of Soviet-era repression continued to cast a long shadow over LGBTQ+ individuals. Section 5, A Spectrum of Realities, Eastern Europe Today. Eastern Europe today presents a complex and often contradictory landscape when it comes to LGBTQ+ rights and acceptance. The region, marked by diverse historical trajectories, cultural contexts, and political climates, exhibits a wide spectrum of experiences for LGBTQ+ individuals, ranging from relative tolerance and legal protections in some countries to persistent discrimination and outright hostility in others.
This diversity underscores the ongoing challenges and opportunities that characterize the struggle for LGBTQ+ equality in this part of the world. Countries like Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, often at the forefront of social and political reforms in the region, have made significant strides in recent years in terms of LGBTQ+ rights legislation. Same-sex partnerships are legally recognized, and anti-discrimination laws offer some degree of protection against prejudice and harassment.
However, societal attitudes towards LGBTQ+ individuals remain mixed, with traditional values and religious beliefs often influencing public opinion and hindering full acceptance.
In contrast, countries like Russia and Belarus have witnessed a concerning rollback of LGBTQ+ rights in recent years. Discriminatory laws such as Russia's notorious gay propaganda law have been enacted, effectively silencing LGBTQ+ voices and curtailing their freedom of expression.
These laws, often justified under the guise of protecting traditional values or children, have created a climate of fear and intimidation for LGBTQ+ individuals, forcing many back into the closet and hindering the work of LGBTQ+ organizations.
The The situation in other parts of Eastern Europe, such as Poland, Hungary, and Romania, falls somewhere in between these two extremes. While same-sex relationships are not criminalized and some legal protections exist, LGBTQ+ individuals continue to face significant challenges, including societal stigma, discrimination, and limited access to rights and services.
The political climate in these countries often plays a significant role in shaping the LGBTQ+ rights landscape, with conservative governments often adopting policies and rhetoric that marginalize and demonize LGBTQ+ individuals.